Yeah.
I mean, I can move this if it's in your way.
No, 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 you're fine. I don't want to.
Got me? Okay, sounds good. Hey,
Sure. Yep, check. We got 1, 2, 3. We're at the Hilton. Audio from the Hilton stream test. Test 1, 2, 3. This is a live stream from the Hilton, new stream. Mr. Moody is checking the dials. We're good. We're good now? Or you want me to keep talking? I can keep talking if you want. I'm probably a little closer to my mouth than she was, but test 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hilton Democratic Headquarters, November 6th, 2018. You good?
So Mike Dougherty from Digger just planted over your shoulder.
Yeah, I see that. From where?
Digger. E.G. Digger. Because there was nowhere else for him to go.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah.
But
That's what you get when you show up at 6 o'clock at night. It is what it is.
Yep. Well, it's maybe more his problem than ours.
Yeah.
So we got a new stream going.
Yep, we're all good. I almost wanted to hesitate to tell her, like, you looked at it because you asked that question.
I mean, especially because it's not like anybody's feeding details to you. The only possibility is they might be able to feed details, but they basically said to me, nope, this is why some people. Well, that's what I was a little surprised when they said choose the time. Right. That's part of the problem. Well, I will try to approach it. That is one of the difficult parts. I can't hear it.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah.
So many other places I want to go more in depth.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that one doesn't matter. It gets worse for kids.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling too. It's like, yeah, I never understand. I mean, it's a funny feeling. It's always kind of weird.
The scanner with YouTube. The scanner with YouTube.
I shouldn't criticize
No,
but it's a hard.
preach it to the choir.
Yeah, it's a hard.
I've worked with these in journalism, so
Yeah. The thing is, you don't even need to be a journalist.
no, she goes, well, this is just public access. I'm like,
Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. Yeah. I know, I hear that
so you don't have to
too.
take us seriously. No.
Right. Well, and you know what? Well, that's the funny thing is, that's the reverse of that. They're very critical for good reason. Okay, I'm gonna try and coach her into it. I'm trying to get her stuff to go. But of course I'm in a vacuum. Too. You know, I'm not gonna know what's going on as far as break and stuff.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
you should
Well, that's why I
right there
asked her.
listening.
That's why I asked her. What do you guys do? I want the mayor for the 8:30 cafe. What do you want us to do? I'm curious. She's not running. The bronze, I'm glad she has the ball.
When she was talking, well, I think it's until 7 o'clock. What I would have asked is, if she mentioned if there's a lot of people out there, then I would immediately ask her something to the effect of, have you seen that?
Right,
You know,
right.
what's the party?
There are numbers on that,
How
right,
they feel about it.
exactly.
And that would have definitely,
Right.
that would have gotten a called substance conversation going.
Well, also, I'm going to talk to her a little bit about time. She had that conversation. So, I have to talk about, well, there's nothing going on. She said that on Thursday. There's never nothing going on. From now on, there's never nothing going on. Right. All right. I'm going to do my best. Okay, sounds like we're good. Everybody's good. That's good.
In the moment, yes. I've been known to shout questions from the back of the camera too.
I'll try and huddle in here when I'm here better.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to screw up.
Yeah, I don't want to step on your toes, but
Yeah.
I've done it with Matt before, and he hasn't minded where
Right.
I'll ask a follow-up question from the
Right.
camera.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what the hell? Why not? Exactly.
Oh, it's right. Like, she said that twice now. I'm just like, come on, this is my job. I do have a little bit of pride in what I do.
Well, and also, me too. Yeah. And also, it's not
And
a way,
I try to make this more professional.
not a way to make it, I mean, that's not a way to give them any weight. You know, that's,
You're wearing a tie.
I'm wearing a tie.
I've
It's
never seen you wear a tie.
Because you see me at my other job.
It's true.
Not at this job.
It's true. I never see you doing this. I've never seen you in a tie. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah?
Who's you guys?
You're Christine volunteers.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Freaking out all day. You know, just panicking. It's fine. It's fine. Go ahead.
So yeah, now you see me doing the other side of my life.
Yeah, exactly. When you're not helping people.
Recording the news, I just want to go get more beer.
That's projection. That was the winner. Okay. Yeah, obviously.
They caught this on the episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what?
Story.
But I would really like it if she won. So that would be really cool. Well, then I will.
Knew her for a while.
So I'd love to talk to John Black. I like his yeah, exactly.
Like smart and stuff.
Yeah, he was nice. That's what I consult for. Consult for. Yeah. So I don't know.
I always let you slouch there. And totally do this job. So it's just a matter as we were talking about, like, if you like, it's on the story.
What's that? I know.
Most arresting the hillbilly Vermonters
Yeah.
and the whole transgender.
I don't know. My parents are down from Bennington County.
Bernie Sanders is another, so there's that. There's, all these rednecks that are like, Jewish guy from Vermont. So,
I don't know. I have no idea. That's why we're here. So
so it could be very interesting to
but they're, I know.
right. Yeah, so
first voted for her, I didn't realize that she was random. I was just like, oh, I really like your platform. And it was like, oh, well, I mean, that's fine too, but I really like I'm voting for you because your platform. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's always
Well, this is for the first one too. We were talking about this earlier. It's also the time when all of us people are all at the same thing. We get to meet up with people here and there once in a while, and not when we're all.
Okay.
It's just kind of
That's true. I hadn't thought about that ever.
Not surprising.
But that's the same sort of thing. Like all the different people in the same room where girls want to congregate all at once. You wait for 20 minutes and then
Yeah. Right. Congratulations. Let's get back to work and we'll see you.
well, we still want to. So I'm just going to keep my eye on
Christine isn't.
I don't know. I think this is the first time.
Test, test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, hello. Wow, that's loud. Are they hearing me now?
Pat Cable.
I'm sorry?
Pat Cable.
Bad cable.
I need something to push this.
Yeah, you know what you lost? You lost the pin that holds it in.
Yeah.
There's a pin or something that holds it in there.
So I need just to push this all.
Somehow I think it's toasting toward to see an engineer. Melly Boy. I bet you Melly Boy might have a tool.
There's no engineer where I'm from. The engineer's in Boston.
That's connected directly to a mic, right?
Well, the,
Hold off, or is it something duct tape would help with, or?
No, I need to push that. Hey John, do you have a tool?
What? Tool? I have some tools. What are you breaking stuff?
I'm breaking the shit already, I know.
can you fix this?
When I this whole channel 2, when I took it out, the whole thing came out of the thingy. I need to push that back in. And it's not going.
My last time, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, we're plugged in directly into channel. Should be the primary audio coming out of channel. Yes, we were having problems with one. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
so Kika, what you end up doing with the
I did, and it didn't work. Because I don't have cell service right now. If I had cell service, I would buy some Bluetooth. There's none. So it's all one fine. It's the only one that can use cell phone service, and it's true. It ranges up to 3 miles.
See anything?
How are you guys?
Tall and black. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's working out. I was gonna get this mic. Put this together.
So there's actually no way to move this camera, is there? You break the stream, right? You break the stream. Because I was thinking, can we shoot it? Can we shoot it and then play it? But that's gonna be a pain in the ass. It's gonna be tough to do. Right, exactly. Right, because we're just not sure we can get her up here. She's never going to get up this far in the room. Well, we might. I mean, we'll try. Yeah. But yeah, I'm guessing that's against protocol the way we're doing this. Okay.
Well, we'll better when we get down again. The problem is, tether break the stream.
I mean, I think she would totally do it.
Yeah.
It's just because I think she's not accustomed. This kind of right.
I think that's what we do with 11% of Ireland.
What's that? Yeah, that's what you need is a second camera. You could pop a card in here and send it. That'd be the way to do it. You bring a second camera, you pop the card and play the file. two cameras with this usually. Yeah. 2020 hindsight. Looking around to see if there's anyone not hurt. Yeah, that'd be the smart thing to do. Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I'm looking around to see if there are other people in the house though while they're all over there.
You have to push that button to talk.
Check.
You hear anything? Check with your finger. Do that. You hear anything?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. You can hear me?
To talk, you have to push the red button. And let up when you want to listen.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. You can hear me? There's a low battery light.
Ah, yes.
Well, what? I'm not hearing anything, but there's a low battery light, so. Check this now.
Yeah, watch mine died, and I said to John, so we're questioning you. I was like, no, it's been on all day.
There we go. That's it.
Hear something? I push to talk.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. This is Matt.
so you're clear on what their organization is and what they do. They basically
Okay.
postcarding.
Great.
That's their big ad.
I'm good. How are you? You're with CAX?
Yeah.
I'm Barry with Channel 17.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
So I will,
Hi.
Introduce you.
I'm Ruth.
I'm Barry.
Very nice
Yeah,
to meet you.
Good to meet you too. So the name of your organization is
Flip the Vote, Champlain Valley.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. So we'll just talk about that. And so Ruth Wallman, is that what I heard? Okay. And you look familiar to me. I feel like you
around.
probably.
There you go.
What?
He even knows me.
Oh
And
yeah.
So you can. We're gonna tuck
we've
you
got-
right up. See what there is.
Yeah,
Good.
put your
And-
toes,
And
say bye.
Barry's gonna kind of start
moved.
facing this way, and she'll swivel. So you don't worry about it. Just talk
yeah,
to her.
I'll just talk to
I have the
never-
hard stuff.
okay, I
Yeah.
don't- Not my first rodeo.
This is only my second rodeo, so.
You're doing great.
You-
You're doing great, honey.
Bring me along.
All right.
As I told Barry, postcarding
Yeah.
is your main
That
method.
was, it did turn out to be that, yes.
Okay. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ruth Wallman, Flip the Vote, Champlain Valley. So we are back at the Hilton, and I'm joined by Ruth Wallman, who is with Flip the Vote, Champlain Valley. Ruth, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you. We're very excited to be here.
Great. Now tell me a little bit about Flip the Vote Champlain Valley.
Sure. Well, cast your mind back a few months to January of 2017 and the women's marches.
Yep.
And a bunch of us went to women's marches all over. Montpelier, I went to Washington, D.C., and we suddenly realized that we had found friends. We had found an emotional support that we didn't know was out there because we were all so bummed. So we met after that in various groups around and said, what can we do? And we paid most attention to Swing Left, which is a national organization, and their focus has been swinging 23, 24 seats from red to blue to take over the House. And so that has really been our focus for the last, 18, 19 months. So there are about 70 of us on our mailing list, but we work with groups out of Montpelier. There's another organization called Lean Left. They are the sister district for Vermont. I know there's a lot of other groups' names, and it's very confusing. But basically, we're mostly women. And we got together and first we groused, and then we said, all right, we have to do something. We can't just sit here. So they came up with the most brilliant idea, which is writing postcards to likely voters, mostly identified as Democrats, but that they were voters from everywhere. There are online places where you can get addresses from all over the country.
Okay, I was going to ask you how you
So
track
that's
them down.
we from Sister District, working with Lean Left in Montpelier, we got addresses for people in Pennsylvania, specifically candidate Melissa Schusterman, who's running for the House, and then we found. I think it's Postcards for VA, which was Virginia. There are a lot of terrific women who are running for office in Virginia. And so we started postcarding for them. We've written thousands of postcards, but there's other technology out there for some of you who are native, as opposed to like me, had to learn this stuff. There's text banking, which is a phenomenal system. My colleague over there, Jean Keller, has been doing that for about a month, where you get hundreds of names at one time and then you text them with your message, and sometimes you get a response and sometimes you don't.
Great.
So we're here to basically represent all the women that we've worked with. If people have been reading the Washington Post and the New York Times, there have been a lot of articles very recently about groups like us all over the country. There are hundreds of thousands of us who have been writing postcards not only to candidates, some people have been writing to the administration, supporting the people who are in the background, like the Department of Justice, all those people whose names you don't know, who are, trying to keep the faith. So that's who we are. So we're here tonight, and we're really excited. We're hoping that we see, some of the results from Virginia really soon.
Right. So Virginia and Pennsylvania.
And
were the two states
Pennsylvania,
that you-
those
so
are
there was
around-
no focus on the state of Vermont, although you were based in Vermont.
Not
you don't
so
have
much.
The same
I mean, I did some
need to flip
calling.
things.
I did some calling for the Vermont Democrats because I believe in it. But most of us were, when asked, we said, if there was a problem here, of course we would. But where we really need to put our energies is out of state to flip those seats.
Okay.
So.
And how is your hand from writing all of those postcards?
Oh yeah,
How
a lot
many
of
postcards do you
cramping.
think-
Lots of cramping. Several hundred over a period of several months.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't all at once. We met every Tuesday night somewhere, sometimes with snacks, and just wrote until we were done.
Well, that's great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that with us. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, we're just hoping.
Fingers crossed and
Yes,
hoping
fingers
that
crossed.
things will
Yes.
that will flip. I
Yes.
guess.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ruth.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yes.
And that's it right now from the Hilton Hotel in Burlington. I think we have another interview coming up with Christine Hallquist, so we'll bring that to you in just a few moments. Yes.
Hopefully tonight, I've been telling people for 9 months now. 2018 is the year we got in history. We all learned a lesson, didn't we? Nice to see you. Thanks. Hi, Barry.
Hi, good to see you again. Thank you so much for coming to us.
Yeah. Oh, no problem.
So that was quite the welcome that you got.
Oh, yes, very
great.
much so. Yeah.
So we'll just do a quick countdown.
Okay.
And then we've got like 2 minutes to
All right.
talk.
Sounds good.
So I know you've got a big crowd to get back to. Big night. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Christine Hallquist. So I am joined by Christine Hallquist, candidate for governor. And Christine, this is your first time running for office in Vermont. There are a lot of people in this room that were very excited to see you. How does tonight feel?
I tell you, I can't feel any more joy and love than I felt in the past several weeks, actually. Vermonters have been approaching me all over the place with tears in their eyes and thanking me for running. It's very moving. I got into this race really because I couldn't sit back any longer. I had no idea I'd be standing here tonight. But we have an incredible campaign team. I've got an incredible family. My daughter came from San Francisco with
Nice.
4 of her friends. Everybody's working hard. It's very precious.
Well, it looks too like you've got an incredible crew of volunteers that are here. Can you talk about that?
Yes, we had over 1,000 volunteers in the field over the past couple days.
Wow.
We've made the number of contacts we've made is astounding. It's just been amazing. People are very energized,
Right.
And I'm honored to be part of that.
And I was at the polls in Winooski and Essex earlier today, and I felt that energy definitely looks like there's a great turnout at the polls, I think all across the state.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what I've been told is good turnout is good for us. And one of the early indicators was the number of early ballots that were returned, which felt good. And then seeing the tremendous turnout we've had, that really is good for the Democratic Party.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add to Channel 17 viewers, or I don't know what your hopes and dreams are for the next couple of hours and then beyond?
Well, I'm going to say nothing is impossible when you're on the side of justice.
Thank you so much. That's perfect. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. back to you.
Right. No, but that's the thing. Yeah. Okay, good. They got it? They're good. So, and then keep scouring. Nice one. Yeah. Right. And the long, the thing is, if we get some different groups, the whole sense, we'll just throw those in if they use them. Sort of traditional democratic, supply of groups. So, okay, I'm just going to keep looking around.
Okay.
We got a couple in it, and that's good. They're on schedule. Yeah, that's good. They were pretty happy with that. That's good. I can't hear anything, all right? I was only trying to get it. Okay? Right. Just to get sure that you get it. Right. I was just trying to get it.
I think so if you
I'm
put
going to ask you to put
your
your toes right on that black mark. So, and you go
And
there.
I'm here.
And then you'll put sort of your left foot, you'll turn. Okay? And that way,
It looks fine. Do
Scott
I-
has a nice head on, but you just
Okay.
talk to Barry.
Do I look okay?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. So I go first. Just wait until I get to you. That could be fun. We should sing, right? Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sharon Panich, Gun Sense Vermont. So we are back at the Hilton, and I'm joined by Sharon Panich, who is the communication lead for Gun Sense Vermont.
Yep.
Sharon, thank you so much for talking with us.
My pleasure, Barry. Thank you.
So I know, gun violence prevention is a big issue. It was a big issue last legislative session, and you had some significant success with passing legislation.
We did. It was actually sort of beyond our wildest dreams. We had a lot of real advocates and champions in both the House and the Senate, and the bills were signed. We have expanded background checks now in the state of Vermont. We have some laws in place to help protect people who might be a threat to themselves or to others. So we're making progress. We're getting there.
And that was a bipartisan effort. We're at the Vermont Democratic Party headquarters.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
you
It
know.
was a bipartisan effort. Largely, the most outspoken champions were Democrats. However, we did have some support across the aisle for sure. A lot of people went out of their comfort zones and supported the bills, and we're grateful to all of them.
And so what are you hoping will happen next? Because that bill did a lot,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there's more that could be done certainly to prevent gun violence.
We are looking to the next session and beyond. We are still making some decisions about policy direction, but we have every intention of continuing to move forward and help make Vermont safer for all Vermonters. And we look forward to working with the winners of tonight's elections. And we are, again, very grateful to everyone who supported the bills last session.
And if someone wants to learn more about Gun Sense Vermont, where should they go? What can they do?
You can
to
take
get
a look.
involved?
Take a look at our website. It's gunsensevt.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So, yeah, but the good place to start is the webpage.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
tonight.
you.
and
Thanks for being here tonight.
Keeping us posted on what you're working on.
All right, thanks.
Take care. So that's it with Gun Sense Vermont. Back to you.
I'm getting feedback from
Yeah, she's starting. That's what we were supposed to. That's what was agreed upon days ago. So they knew the name of the person. That was Disney right there.
That's what they told me to do. Did I not pause?
well, kind of massaging. So what they're asking is, show me like, then you would tell me something. Then you introduce it to see what you want. What I think they're just getting used to is,
So say the name and title.
right, stop that. That matches.
I did.
No one's yelling.
Do we need to
No, go right out of the countdown. Right.
All right. Yeah. I did the name first. I thought I did the name first and then I did the name.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I can't hear a thing.
I got bad feet. I can't stand up nonstop for 3 straight hours. Which one was it? Oh, okay. Oh, good. All right. Little tiny switch, not well. Right, yeah. Bumping and stuff all the time.
This side is the record button right here in the corner, in the bottom corner. Sometimes if I dip it right, all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I saw you recording. It's right in the wrong place where you're trying to.
Yeah.
yeah, that helps.
So it's early. We want to
Right.
emphasize it's early, but interesting developments
Right.
in a number of races. And some people are being called on the East Coast, like Warren and others.
Okay, so remind me, I do the name and title. Wait, name and title and then count down,
Then
or
count
count?
down and go
okay.
straight into it. 3 seconds after one,
Yep.
go straight into it.
You ready?
Yes, I am.
Chris DeMezzo.
Christopher.
Christopher. I'm sorry. He said it. It's his fault. Okay. 5, 4, 3. Ah. Okay. Chris DeMezzo, Communications Director, Vermont Democratic Party. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we are back at the Hilton, and I'm joined again by Christopher DeMezzo, the Communications Director for the Vermont Democratic Party. And Christopher, last time we spoke, the room was a little bit different. The feeling in the room has changed a bit. It's still early on, but it seems like there is a bit of a blue wave potentially happening. Can you enlighten us and let us know kind of what's going on both in Vermont and then in other parts of the country?
Sure. Well, I think the energy in this room is emblematic of the energy around the country for Democrats, up and down ballots all across the country. You're seeing early races called already in the East Coast for Democrats, and you're seeing Democrats being competitive in races that maybe they shouldn't have been. Specifically, I'm talking about Beto O'Rourke's race. You see 18 or so percent reporting, and he's up by 13 or so points. It's early, but it's a good sign.
So you're feeling hopeful, obviously, and it seems like you're not alone. There are a lot of people in this room. I can feel that energy here.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy. I think Christine is bopping around right now. She came down a while ago, and I think she is still in the room. So we're excited to have her here. We're excited to have all the supporters here, and we're excited to get this show on the road.
Are there any other candidates that you've seen here at the Hilton so far?
Yep, State Treasurer Beth Pierce is here. I'm told that Senator Leahy is in the building, and I believe Senator Sanders is also in the building.
Okay. I believe that I saw that Senator Sanders' race was called pretty early on.
Yes, CNN had called Bernie Sanders' race at 7 o'clock on the dot, the moment the polls closed here in Vermont. That should come as no surprise to anybody, and we surely expect Peter Welch's race will be called anytime.
Any other? What about Beth Pierce? When will the Vermont results start coming in?
Sure, the statewide results are coming in now. It's really at the discretion of how quickly the town clerks are getting the numbers together and at the Secretary of State's office. You'll see at the bottom tickers of the televisions that some of them are coming in as we speak.
And will there be an issue with absentee ballots and counting those, or there was a lot of early voting that happened in the state, is that right?
Sure, yep, there was a lot of early voting. I think the Secretary of State reported today nearly 70,000 early votes were cast in the state of Vermont, and those are being counted right along.
And what about a sense of turnout numbers in general?
Turnout's generally been good. I think it's been emblematic of the state. High turnout is going to be a good barometer by which to measure Democratic victories.
All right, great. Well, as we said, it is early on, but it looks like maybe another race has been called. I don't know whether that's in Vermont or elsewhere in the country, and we'll look forward to hearing more good news, I guess.
Yeah, we look forward to a long night of celebration.
Great, thank you
All
so
right,
much.
no problem.
So again, that was Christopher DeMezzo from the Vermont Democratic Party. So obviously there's a lot so far for the Democratic Party to look forward to and to celebrate happening later on tonight, and we'll be bringing you reports as the evening continues. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you.
Till the next one.
Oh,
cool.
great.
Thank you.
So much.
You already said that. Good. Thank you.
We need to get traffic jokers on these things.
It's going to be Senator Leahy. It's going to be Congressman Welch.
So Sanders, they can
It's going to be Leahy, Welch, and Senator Sanders will speak when this race is called on the Secretary of State's website. And I don't know when that will be.
You get your shots Maximize.
Yeah, you got that. Alice Wilson texted me to say she caught us on the line. Good shot. You made it. Hope we weren't doing anything bad. It was Patrick.
Welcome, Democrats! My name's Terry Anderson. I'm the chair of the Vermont Democratic Party, and it's great to see such a large, enthusiastic crowd here tonight. We're going to have a great evening. It's probably going to be a long evening with a lot of results that are going to take a while to come in, so settle in. We'll have the TVs going, the bar will be serving, and we'll have a great night. As we start tonight, I do want to take just a moment to thank everybody who has worked so hard on this campaign, whether it's the candidate staff, our incredible Democratic Party staff, the candidates who've gone out and campaigned so hard, everybody who's made this happen. It's been an incredible year. We're going to see some incredible results. We've already heard some really good numbers. We picked up a seat in Barrie. It looks like we picked up a seat in Cambridge. Things are looking good. Nationally, the early numbers are incredibly, incredibly encouraging. So we know that Vermont is part of a movement from coast to coast tonight to stand up to the evil agenda coming out of Washington, D.C. right now. They've already declared that Senator Sanders has won, along with about 7 or 8 other incumbent senators. And you will hear from Bernie at some point fairly soon, I think. I don't know if they've declared Peter Welch has won yet, but he's so far ahead they should just put the check mark there anyway. We're looking right now at Beto O'Rourke in the lead in Texas. So it's an exciting night, but it's going to take a long time before we know what happens everywhere for all the legislative races here in Vermont, for all of our statewide races, and certainly for all the national races. I do want to start us out tonight with an incredibly special guest. Senator Patrick Leahy is the first Democrat ever elected to the U.S. Senate from Vermont. He was elected in 1974, the Watergate year. May have a lot in common with this year when things are done. Since then, he's been an incredible voice for Vermont, for the Democratic Party, and for the values that we hold as a country and as Democrats. We counted on him to stand up for us again and again, and the last Supreme Court nominee hearings made clear that he does that spectacularly. I'm thrilled to introduce Senator Patrick Leahy. And Marcel.
Yes, Marcel and I, thank you, Terry, thank you very much. Thank you, because this makes me think of 1974 when I still save 2 headlines from that time. One says, Poll dooms Leahy. The next one is 5 days later. It says Leahy unexpectedly wins. That's what I hope will happen. Part of it was because Marcel was there, and now we have the Leahy leadership interns. Would you all raise your hands? Please. We tried this in my last election, having these interns. Some have come back again. Trust me. If you're running you want one of them working with you because they are fantastic. And I'm hoping we're going to send a message across the country. Send a message to Donald Trump. Stop trying to destroy our country. Let us be. Let us be the great country we know we are. Let's have people in who've actually read the Constitution. He says a lot. He tells you how he's going to, by a stroke of the pen, amend the Constitution, which you can't do. He doesn't really do an awful lot unless you count the times on his golf courses or talking to Fox News. But we are stronger and better, and we will not let him destroy our country. And we'll send that message from Vermont. We Vermonters believe in the Constitution. We believe in equal rights for all Americans. We believe in quality health care and education for all Americans. We believe in the economy that works for all Americans. We believe in honesty and decency in public life. We believe you don't lead by demeaning your fellow Americans. And I think a lot of this started the day after the inauguration. Marcel and I rented out a house on Capitol Hill for anybody who came down for the Vermont Women's March. 600 showed up, Vermonters. We had a steady stream of people going down to Union Station with my credit card, getting more coffee and donuts. Till Sunday, somebody asked them, "How much coffee does Senator Leahy drink?" I said, "No, we got half of Vermont there." That was the start of the women's movement. That women's movement is going to be heard tonight in Vermont, throughout the country. I heard it from Vermont during the Kavanaugh hearings. I hear it from Vermont on gun control. I hear it from Vermont on health care. And I tell the other senators from the 49 states. So that's why I'm glad these young people are here. I'm glad that we have honest elections here. Jim Condos deserves credit. He's recognized throughout the country for that. But I can brag, and Marcel can brag, about Christine Hallquist and David Zuckerman, and T.J. Donovan, Beth Pierce, Jim Condos, Doug Hoffer, and of course I am helped that I am one third of the best congressional delegation in Washington. Includes Peter Welch and Bernie Sanders. I joked that we can caucus in the elevator on the way to a vote. But by God, we caucus with your voice, and we know Vermont's voice is what counts. And thank you all very much, both Marcel and I do. Thank you. All right.
Hey, don't go anywhere. One of the other third of that astounding congressional delegation is going to be joining us, Congressman Peter Welch. Peter, Peter's just a great voice for us in Washington, a hardworking and effective member of Congress who stands up for Vermont values all the time. Thrilled to have Peter with us tonight. I think they put the check mark by you yet?
All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank our senior senator, who's been serving us so well for so long, Patrick Leahy. Patrick, where are you? In Marcel. You know, when you think about it, the first Senate vote to end the Vietnam War, Patrick Leahy cast that vote. And every time a tough decision was required, Patrick made the right one. Patrick Leahy, thank you for being the conscience of the Senate and the conscience of Vermont. Thank you very much. And it's an exciting day, but before I get to that, I really want to thank all of the folks here, all of the campaign staff workers, all of the interns, all of the citizens who believe that every 2 years, as tough as it is to get involved in a political campaign, political campaigns and elections really matter. The worst thing that we can believe in politics is that it doesn't matter. That's the worst thing. And I'll tell you, if I ever had any question about does it matter, it happened a couple of months ago when I went down to the Texas border. I went to the Texas border because what we saw at that border was a government policy that was in your name, and it was in my name. Your name and my name, the authority of the presidency of the United States saying, we are going to take children from their parents in order to have a border wall, no matter what. And what this election is about, across this vast country of ours, with all of the different people and all of the different groups and all of the different aspirations that we have and all of the different challenges we face. The question is, are we in it together, or is it winner take all and you're on your own? That is the simple question that America is deciding across this land tonight. And what this election is about, very simply, you know, I met a former Marine at one of the campaign rallies that we were doing with Bernie Sanders. And he came up to me and he said, Peter, I'm with you all on the issues. I want health care for all. I want affordable college education. We've got to address climate change. But he said, Peter, what this election is about, this is a Marine who served in Iraq and Afghanistan who knows something about service. He said, this is about our democracy. The guardrails of democracy are under attack. We're for a free press. We are for the rule of law. We are for respecting people no matter their race, their national origin, their sexual identity. It doesn't matter. We are in it together. And that's what this election is about. And I'll tell you something. We're starting to see the election returns coming in. We don't know enough, but I'm getting optimistic that we are going to have a Democratic House of Representatives at the end of this night. But let me say something. Yes, we will be a break on President Trump and some of his worst policies, but I'll tell you what our challenge is. It is to do things that need to be done for working families, whether they are from Vermont or Oklahoma, whether they voted for Clinton or they voted for Trump. They deserve and need lower prescription drug prices. They deserve and they need affordable college education. They deserve and they need an opportunity for their kids to learn a trade so they can be independent and self-sufficient and emotionally intact. That's what we need. We need a policy, if we win, and I believe we will, where we show that we are all in it together. That is what we're about, and that's what this election is about. And across this land, if we get that mandate, our promise to the American people is we'll be there for you, we'll work for you, we'll listen, and we'll act. And we will be judged by what we do, not by what we say. So thank you, each and every one of you, who at this time of enormous anxiety in our country have decided that you've got the will, you've got the heart to hang in and fight and contribute for a better day. Thank you, Vermonters.
Hello, folks. I'm Josh Massey. I'm the Executive Director of the Vermont Democratic Party. Welcome to the party, everyone. We're having a great night. Thank everyone for the work you're doing. We're going to have some more races coming in soon. The other part of the trifecta of the federal delegation will be down before too long. So please enjoy yourselves, have some drinks, enjoy the results coming in, and we'll call you folks up again soon as we get some more results in. Thank you, everyone.
I've never done this before.
Yeah.
So I look at you in the camera.
You can look at me, and they'll get a. So we'll get started. Are you ready for us? Okay, Senator Patrick Leahy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello again. I am joined by Senator Patrick Leahy, and we are at the Burlington Hilton, Vermont Democratic Party headquarters. And Senator Leahy, in your speech earlier tonight, you talked about leadership and the women's movement in particular. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
A lot of people thought the whole country had turned after President Trump's inauguration. The next day, there were hundreds of thousands of women of all nationalities, ages, and everything, marching for human rights, women's rights, rights of Americans. My wife and I marched with them, with a granddaughter and a daughter. I hosted the 600 Vermonters that came down, and I thought, there is hope. And I think the women's leadership across the country is going to be shown in a lot of the races tonight.
Well, it certainly feels like there's a lot of hope in this room, but what about Washington and other parts of the country? Can you talk a little bit about what's happening nationally or what your sense is?
We're just getting the early returns. And I know a number of my colleagues I've served with for years have been reelected, and that's good news.
It is. Thank you so much. I know you've got lots of people to talk to. Thanks for spending time with us. Take care. Thanks again for watching. Back to you, Diane.
How'd that go?
I don't know. I think
I won't say it.
Wait.
Barry Silver, I think you probably met.
I don't know if we've met
With
now.
Channel 17.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Great.
Are they not calling the Chittenden County Senate race yet?
We haven't seen it live. No,
Right,
I haven't seen it
okay.
live. It takes time.
Right. But we see, well, you've been in the legislature a long time,
Yeah.
so I think we've got some ideas about what it looks like.
Let's see what happens.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Is this live streaming?
We are live streaming. So what we're doing is we're live on tape. So they'll be running it into the live. Yeah.
So if I screw up,
Yeah, but you're not going to screw up. If anybody screws up, it's going to be me. So I'm here to make you look good. So, okay. Senator Ginny Lyons in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am here with Senator Ginny Lyons, who is running for, what term is this?
Oh, well, this is will be my 10th term, should I be lucky enough to be elected, so.
Right, it's a long night, it's still early in the night, and results for the Chittenden County Senate race haven't yet come in.
The results aren't in, but it's just been so refreshing today to see the voter turnout. It's been exciting, and it energizes all of us. I've worked extremely hard in the Senate for my district, for Chittenden County, and then for the election. So it's great to see all the voters, and I appreciate the enthusiasm that they bring to the work that we do and to the election.
It's great. There certainly is a lot of enthusiasm in this room, and I was in Winooski and Essex Town and Essex Junction this morning. There was great turnout in both of those towns, both of those areas, and I
think
felt
it's
that energy you're talking
Yeah, it's the
about.
same way. I was at several different polls today, some in Burlington and some in the outlying towns, Williston, my own hometown, and it was really an amazing line. It's good.
for a midterm, it's good.
For a midterm, it's definitely,
yeah.
I think, what they're saying.
Well, but you know, the midterm is confirmation in some ways, or lack thereof, of what's happening at the federal level, and I think we're seeing that. I think people have been very upset with what the president's been doing, and I think affirmation of Bernie Sanders and Peter Welch will be important to us all at the federal level.
And they already called Bernie's race. Have the numbers come in for Peter?
I'm not sure, but it looks like he's doing very well. I think the incumbent lieutenant governor is doing well, and it's a bit of a race, but I think unfortunately the governor is now is ahead. But
we'll see. The night is young.
The night is young.
And I'll let you get to it. You've got to.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the results, and really appreciate Channel 17 being here. It's important to all of us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. It was good to talk with you.
Yeah,
and
take
good luck
care.
tonight.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks again for watching. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Senator Lyons. There wasn't much to say, right?
No, you did great.
So we'll talk about. You want me to hold that for you? Okay.
So yeah, so what are we going to talk about?
And really turn right
Yeah.
toward him so that we get a nice head on. Okay.
Is that you're always
because
telling
then
me
it's over
that.
the shoulder with you, but he's the one we want to see.
I know. Don't even. I mean.
Are you
just-
kidding me?
I'll just hold the microphone.
Sorry. We're not live yet, are we?
No, and actually,
If he
yeah,
said
you never
yes,
know.
then I just did a really goofy face, but oh well.
That's good.
How you doing?
That'll be in the bloopers.
Good. Thank you. I think it's looking solid because it's all rural areas. and
Okay.
all that.
Okay, you ready?
Lieutenant Governor David Zuckerman, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm here with Lieutenant Governor David Zuckerman. We're here a little bit early. The race for Lieutenant Governor hasn't yet been called, but we are going to get a sense of how you're feeling and how things
Sure.
are going tonight. And
Well, in general, I'm feeling good. I'm frankly looking at the country as well. Turnout is up everywhere, which is a great thing for democracy, regardless of whoever wins. We just need more people to vote. And clearly, people came out this time. And in Vermont, the numbers were up everywhere. The polls I was at today were swamped with people, some record numbers, even better than presidential in some districts. And right now, a lot of early numbers, so it's hard to know yet. But in some rural areas, I'm doing pretty well. And so it feels pretty good right now.
all right, well, obviously they called
I
a
think they
race
called
somewhere.
a race in another state or two. They're looking good. But here in Vermont, it's mostly rural areas, and I'm still up by a little bit. So I think I'm in pretty solid shape.
All right, well, that's exciting. We'll wait and see what
we'll
happens.
see. I'll
and,
come back through, and we'll chat again.
That would be great. It will
Excellent.
be good to talk with you. Thank you so much for talking with us early on.
Absolutely.
And we'll be looking for you and looking ahead to see what happens
We'll
next.
see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Have a good night.
You bet.
Back to you in the studio.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You bet.
I did want to
Good to
thank
see
you
ya.
Absolutely.
for speaking at the
Synagogue- at the-
vigil. That was
yeah.
amazing.
Oh, good.
And I'm
I
from
did it off
Massachusetts.
my
I
cup.
didn't realize you were from Brookline.
Yeah, where are you from?
I'm from Framingham, but I went to high school in Chestnut Hill, Mass.
Hold
so
on.
just
Oh, you're
a
from
couple
there. Wait, hold on
towns,
one
yeah.
second.
All right, everyone, we've got another one of our trifecta of the federal delegation coming to the stage right now. I'd like to introduce our very own Senator Bernie Sanders. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you all very much. Let me thank my family and all of the thousands of Vermonters who played a key role in helping us win this election. Thank you all very much. We don't know what the overall election results for the United States will be tonight. But what we do know is that this is a pivotal moment in American history. And we know that we have Republican leadership in the House and the Senate who have turned their backs on working families in this country, have tried to throw 32 million people off the health care that they have given $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%, and then Trump came forward with a budget that would have made massive cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and the Social Security Disability Fund. But more important than even these terrible policies is that we have a president of the United States who is a pathological liar and is doing something that no president in my lifetime has ever done. And that is, instead of bringing the American people together, he is trying to divide us up based on the color of our skin, based on where we come from, based on our religion, based on our gender, based on our sexual identity. Our job is to tell this president that we will not tolerate policies which are racist and sexist and homophobic. That all over this country, the American people, led by the state of Vermont, are going to stand up and fight back. So I just want to thank my family, Jane, and all of the kids behind me. And I want to thank all of you, and mostly the people of Vermont. Being a United States Senator from Vermont has been the honor of my life. And I thank the people of the state for allowing me to once again serve as their senator. Thank you all very much.
let's give it a moment.
It might be bad timing.
Yeah, because it's going to be tough to compete sound-wise.
Yeah.
I'll send them Julia's name and all before.
Okay.
That. Get your toes right on there.
Your
Great,
toes.
thank
See
you.
how I have my toes? Yep. And you look. You can look at. She should look at the
Don't
camera
mind
or look at me.
No, you got to draw her over rather than having her worry about the camera. Okay?
I just have to stand in this awkward way for it until
Ready? Are you ready? Are
Sure.
you ready? Okay, good. Then everyone's ready.
Julia Shannon Grillo in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Burlington Hilton. I'm joined by Julia Shannon Grillo, who is a student at Burlington High School and on the team of the Burlington Register. You're a student journalist, is that right, Julia?
Yeah, I'm one of our 4 editors at the BHS Register.
An editor, good for you, okay. And you were out this morning interviewing voters, getting a sense of what was on their minds when it came to these midterm elections. What did you learn?
Yeah. Well, we were asking people sort of what they felt passionate about, those on the ballot, and we did get a lot of people who were talking about how this election meant a lot to them on more of a national level than local, but also we did see a lot of support for the school bond and for the wastewater sewage bond.
Right, so there are 2 big bond items on the ballot in Burlington, and the school bond would allow Burlington High School to add on and renovate. That's pretty exciting as a high school student. I imagine you've got some opinions on that.
I mean, I've seen the plans. I just wrote an article about it for the Register. I've seen the plans personally. I'm jealous that I wouldn't be able to go to that school, but I know a lot of the students in the school do see the need, and we, the people who are in the school right now aren't going to be affected by it, but nobody wants the future generations of Burlington High School students to have to loop through 4 different buildings because one ramp is raining in the hallway. So,
well, you certainly know how the current school is doesn't work anymore. Maybe it never worked.
Especially this time of year when the weather starts to get bad, we really see the effects of the deteriorating infrastructure at the school. So,
well, great, thanks. What else did you learn this morning?
I don't know. Like I said, a lot of people, we got a lot of response from people who are looking at the national scale today, and people seem generally pretty optimistic. I think when we talked to people, they were riled up and they were excited, and there was a huge voter turnout. I was in Ward 6 first this morning, and they said they had a line out the door right when the polls opened, and they had never seen that before, and it was the same thing with Ward 5. And I believe I heard that there were lines when the polls were closing too, so they had to keep them open, which usually doesn't happen, especially in midterm elections. So that seemed like a pretty good sign for everyone, and people were in good spirits.
Well, great. There's definitely a lot of optimism in this room, so we're going to let you get back to the party, and thanks so much for checking in with us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Take care. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great. Yeah. Keep up the good work. turn them around. Like you almost can probably end up here.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Turn them right around.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm right here.
All right, I know.
This is where he pointed.
They make me stand on one too.
She'll
It makes me feel
maneuver,
any
you
better.
just stay right there and
Yeah.
talk to her.
I'm
okay?
very awkward with this, so
All right.
so just stay there and
She's
let me
gonna
do the
a
awkward
countdown
stuff.
and then you're in.
All right.
Secretary of State Jim Condos in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're back at the Hilton, and I'm joined by Secretary of State Jim Condos, who is running for another term. Welcome. Thank you so much for talking to us here at Channel 17.
Thank you for having me here.
So there has been a lot of talk about voter turnout. I was at the polls in Winooski and Essex Town and Essex Junction today, and I experienced what seemed to be like a good voter turnout, but I bet you can talk to that more statistically and
So
more accurately.
we don't have actual numbers yet, and it'll be a few days before we do. But what we understand is that the turnout so far has been somewhere around 55%, which might be a record for the midterms. Just if you look at early vote ballots, in 2014, the last midterm, we had 33,400. This year, we're up to 69,000 already.
Wow, so that's double what
Yes.
was collected previously. Any other thoughts about what's happening to bring out the voters or voter engagement? What's working? And
Well, I think there's several factors. One, of course, is the national discourse that's going on. But I think also you have some highly contested races at the local level, at the county level, and even at the state level.
And I know the other thing that you care deeply about is voter integrity of elections and security of elections. So want to talk a bit about that.
Sure. So we've had a good day, and to say that when I can say nothing happened, that's a good day. So we're very pleased. Obviously, what has occurred around the country did not occur here. There have been instances where there was some voter suppression going on. We feel pretty confident that the voter engagement has been strong, and that we've protected the right to vote, and we've protected the security of that vote.
Well, great. Thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight.
You're
and
welcome.
We'll look forward to seeing more results as they come in and hearing more about Vermont's hopefully record-breaking turnout for this midterm.
It's a good night so far.
Terrific. Thank you so much
Thanks.
again.
Thank you.
Back to you in the studio.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is put your toes right on that black line. Barry is going to do an intro and count in. And she's going to kind of shift over, and you just talk to her. Okay?
All right.
Thank you very much.
No, you're going to look
You
at
can
me.
just talk to her.
Yeah.
That's even easier. Ready, Barry?
Okay, I'm ready. Ali Zhang in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're at the Hilton, and I'm joined by City Councilor Ali Zhang. And there is a big bond, a couple of bond initiatives on the ballot in Burlington. Can you tell our viewers a little bit more about what's happening with the bonds and the goals of, there's the Burlington High School bond. Let's talk about that. That's a big, unprecedented number that we're talking about.
Absolutely. And I think this is just showing us that Burlingtonians, they value education. They value the safety and the well-being of our students. And also they value to invest and have assets in this city. And also they value that if we have a wonderful, beautiful high school, we might be inviting people from other states to be able to come and move in here. We have a population that is not growing, and I think this is an example that, you know, Burlington is coming together and we want to invest in the future and the safety of our children.
And, oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, and I think it has passed. It has passed, and overwhelmingly, we don't have all the numbers yet, but I think in Burlington, they spoke out very strongly in favor of the Burlington High School renovation bond.
Oh, that's great. I hadn't heard that the numbers had come in. So as far as you know,
They slowly come
it
in.
looks like it is going to pass in favor of the $70 million bond. Now, that wasn't the only investment in infrastructure that Burlington residents were being asked to vote on. What about the wastewater infrastructure and the bond to help fund that?
Yep. So as a member of the city council, I think I was the only person who voted against the sewage and water. You know, I voted against it because I have some reasons. You know, one of the reasons is in order for us to put something on the bond for the voters to vote, we need to explore all the options that exist. And I mean federally, at the state level, and also find out if we can find revenues, from, other fees that we can raise instead of increasing the bills of residents who are here. And we also know that many people are living in fixed income. We know the high school bond will be passing, and if we add other bond items such as, raising the bills, at least if it's $5, it counts with some people. So I'm glad again that Burlingtonians have spoke out very clearly that they want that to pass as well. And, and I'm just proud that maybe the city will want to make sure that we don't ask for more anymore. No more bonds, at least for the next 10 years. That's what I will be working for. Enough is enough.
There is some talk, and maybe you can help me understand this, but I thought there was another bond that is proposed for March to help with renovations of Memorial Auditorium, or am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, no, there are some talks, and we think that it will be coming then. But again, like what I said earlier, I think 70 million and then 30 million is enough for now. Let's not think about that. To me, Burlington Memorial Auditorium, we need to find a private and public partnership in developing it. If we can't, let's sell it to a developer, and the developer will at least hold on the facade because it's a historical building. Hold on to the facade and make housing. We have housing problem. That's my stand. We should not put another 1 million or 2 million to the voters again to vote. I will be voting when it comes to us to renovate the Memorial Auditorium. Yeah, but there are some talks.
Well, thank you so much. As you said, it's enough for now. I think that's enough for now. We had a great conversation, and I appreciate your spending time with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Channel 17, for all you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good one.
You too.
Back to you, Diane.
to the stage our Attorney General TJ Donovan to say a few words. Congratulations, TJ, on a great race.
All right, well, thank you, Vermont. I am grateful for your support for another term as your Attorney General. And let me first thank my wife, Jess McLeod, my son, Jack, and Emmett, who have been with me the whole way. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you, guys. Let me thank a great campaign manager, somebody from the southern part of the state, from Bennington County, Natalie Silver. Let me thank my family. I know my mother, State Representative Joey Donovan's here tonight. We want to thank her as well. And I want to thank everybody in the Attorney General's office for their hard work over these past 2 years, carrying out a new agenda, working to help Vermonters, to give voice to those that don't have a voice, to be creative, to solve problems, and to stand up and protect every single Vermonter in this state, regardless of who you are, where you're from, what you look like, who you love, or who you worship. We protect civil rights in the state of Vermont. That's what we're going to do these next 2 years. We're going to stand up and protect everybody, whether it's the civil rights or whether it's women's fundamental rights or whether it's our environment, because pollution doesn't know any state borders. When Washington, D.C. will step back, the state of Vermont will step up and protect all of us. And I've always said that the best form of public safety is a good job. And we've worked very hard these past 2 years reaching out to the backbone of our community, and that's our small businesses. In order to grow our economy, we have to redefine what a safe and vibrant community looks like for everybody. It starts with access to health care, early childhood education, good public schools with robust mental health treatment, affordable housing, and access to affordable higher education. That is the foundation of a safe and vibrant community for everyone in this state, where we leave no one behind, where we believe in the dignity of every person and give everybody the opportunity for success in Vermont. That is Vermont values, that is Vermont strong, and that's what we're going to continue to do as Attorney General. And know this, no matter what happens in Washington, D.C., we believe in justice in this state. We believe in dignity. We believe in respect. And we believe in the human rights of all people, regardless of the hateful rhetoric that comes from our nation's capital. We believe, as the poet wrote so many years ago, that when justice can rise up, hope and history can rhyme. Let it rhyme in this state in these next 2 years. This is Vermont. These are our values. Let's continue to lead this nation in decency, respect, and the respect for all people. Thank you so much.
Hello again, folks. Josh Massey here with Executive Director of the Vermont Democratic Party. It is now my honor to introduce another one of our statewide candidates that has been up for re-election and won, somebody who has given us the best election law in the entire land, somebody who has made voting easy in Vermont, somebody we are all very proud of, Secretary of State Jim Kondos, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight, and I want to thank the voters of Vermont for all the support that they've given us. I especially want to thank the VDP staff. They're all around the room, but thank you to the VDP staff for their hard work in getting out the vote. And of course, I want to thank my partner, Annie, who's over here, who has been so supportive of me in my runs for Secretary of State. This election was about one thing, and it's a four-letter word: vote. And I want to say that it's great to see that the turnout here in Vermont has been so strong. When this country was first founded in the 1700s, only white male landowners were allowed to vote. Since that time, we've had 10 to 12 changes to our Constitution, 10 to 12 changes to our statutes, all in the interest of increasing an access to the vote. Then, in 2010, the Tea Party hit and actually started to decimate our voter registration laws around the country. Our democracy has been and is under attack, but not here in Vermont. We in the legislature, my office and the legislature have worked together to make Vermont one of the most accessible voting areas in the country. We have 17-year-olds who can vote in primaries if they turn 18 by the general election. We have same-day voter registration, which was on course today. We have automatic voter registration. We have online voter registration. And we have 45 days of no excuse early voting. And just to give you some numbers, in the 2014 midterm, we had 33,000 early votes cast. This election, we've had 69,000 early votes cast. We more than doubled it. Very often I have said that the true voter fraud that occurs in this country is the denying of any eligible American the right to cast a ballot. That's the true voter fraud. But make no mistake, if allowed, the other side will enact measures that negatively impact young adults, minorities, low income, and our seniors. Anecdotally, today our voter turnout was extremely good. We believe that the numbers may turn out to be around 55%, which might set a record for a midterm election. It's important that we remember that this is our country, our state, and it's our democracy. Your vote is your voice. Thank you.
Terry's going to do an intro.
Nice to see
Terry
you.
Silver.
Yep.
And she'll do an intro and a countdown. Intro, and then she'll kind of shift over like this so that we
Okay.
have a nice shot.
Okay,
with
great.
you, okay?
Yeah.
All right, great.
I get to see the back of me. Oh, don't break your camera again.
There is nothing official yet.
Okay.
But the bond votes are looking good.
Yeah.
Are there
Okay.
other highlights
Word,
you would look at? Yeah.
Well, the school folks they had people out at all the polling stations, so they're pretty confident they got about
Yeah.
70% of the vote.
Okay.
I've only seen Ward 6 results for the water bond, but
Okay.
that was at about 94%, literally. So
Okay.
we're pretty confident.
Seems like a good. Great.
Hey, how are you? Good.
Are you ready?
See you, Scott.
Mayor Miro Weinberger in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I am joined by Mayor Miro Weinberger, who is going to tell us a little bit more about a couple of, I guess, unprecedented bond votes in Burlington. There was a bond for renovations at Burlington High School, and then also wastewater treatment and other infrastructure. So tell us what you know about that now, and yeah, just inform us a little bit more about those issues and anything else you want to tell us.
Great. Well, yes, there were two very significant bond votes. Bond question number one was about a up to $70 million investment in a renovated and largely new high school. And then there was a separate bond item for $30 million of investment in our wastewater and stormwater systems. And it does appear that both bonds did very well. I was just a few minutes ago out at the high school with the crew that's been working hard to secure a yes vote there, and their unofficial results were that about 70% of the city had voted in favor of the investment, which is it is a historic vote. We have not had really any substantial investment in the high school in about 55 years. So this is really a exciting opportunity for our high school students. Generations of Burlington high school students in the years ahead will benefit from this investment. The wastewater bond and stormwater bond, we don't have final results for yet. I did see the numbers out of Ward 6, and there about 94% of the voters had voted yes. So it does seem very likely that passed with a big, strong outcome as well. That too, maybe not quite as significant as the high school vote, but it is, for the last 75 years, Burlington has been really doing better and better at protecting Lake Champlain. Up until 1953, we didn't do anything to protect the lake from sewage. Since then, we've had a number of rounds of major investments. We built a wastewater treatment plant, the main plant, in the 1950s. In the 1990s, we started treating stormwater, which was very significant. 2009, we started a stormwater utility that kept things getting even better. This $30 million investment, I think, goes along with those other big steps that, in some make us far better than we used to be at protecting Lake Champlain. And this investment will really ensure we don't go backwards and that things don't break the way we saw happening multiple times this summer.
So when you're saying it's less significant than the high school bond,
Well,
it's just
not
in
as
terms
large.
of dollar figure.
Yeah, it's not as large a number. It's not, it hasn't been in the same way that it's been 55 years since we really made a major investment in the high school. We've been making investments more recently than that, but it is still a very significant day for Burlington's water stewardship, lake stewardship efforts.
Great. I think we'll just wait and see what happens when the final numbers come in, and I appreciate your talking with us and giving us the heads up about what's happening in Burlington, and thanks
Absolutely.
again.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate what Channel 17 does to be a definitive source for local news during these exciting election nights. So thanks for your service.
Thank you. Unsolicited and testimonial. That's awesome. Have a good night. Thanks.
You too.
And back to you.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
suicide
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
state.
I'm still working on the accent, you know, so hey.
It's going really well too, by the way.
Well, you know, my mother grew up in the North Shore. I'm from Western Massachusetts, and they really identified more with Brattleboro.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially about, they haven't called the race, but they won't, but it's looking.
It's looking good.
And but really, more importantly, really financially from here, water cleanup, education, the bond rating, right,
sure.
things like that. That's
No
your
problem. Yeah,
bailiwick.
thank you.
Okay, you ready, Barry?
Yes. So I'm going to start, then we'll talk to each other.
Do I look at you or the camera?
You look at me.
Got it. Okay. I'm not as good at this as the other folks, you know. I'm better at numbers.
Well, then you're in the right job.
I'm in the right job.
Okay. So Beth Pierce, treasurer, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am at the Hilton Hotel with Beth Pierce, who is treasurer. She's still waiting to hear about whether or not you were elected for, is it a 4th term?
Yes, I was appointed in 2011 and then won in 2012, 14, and 16.
Okay.
So it's looking good. We'll wait and see what the official results are. But I'm very hopeful at this point, and looking forward, with the help of the voters, looking forward to another opportunity to serve Vermonters as their chief financial officer.
Great. So let's talk about, there are a lot of issues in Vermont that require spending money. So, you know, water quality has been an issue, and can you talk about some of those things?
So, you know, for me as treasurer, you know, we have to pay attention to the bottom line, and I do. And I think that we do a good job with taxpayers' dollars. We're good stewards of those dollars. At the same time, we have to recognize that that bottom line belongs to every single Vermonter, and make sure that we do right by every single citizen in the various issues. One of them, you mentioned clean water. A few years ago, the legislature asked me to do a report on that and to look at financing and funding opportunities. We completed that report, and we did it the Vermont way. We had 23 stakeholder meetings with 1,000 people involved and really put together the data. And we came up with a 2-year glide path plan that did not raise taxes, and then took a look at revenue and financing opportunities, including the use of existing revenues, for the next 3 years to 20. I'm disappointed that we didn't get further on that last year. My goal this year is to make sure we have a plan in place that protects that asset. $2.5 billion of tourism is dependent on our natural resources, including our clean waters. We need to see it as an asset to invest in for our future economy. It's also an issue in terms of safe drinking water and our way of life. So economy, safety, way of life, we need to invest in that asset.
Well, you jumped ahead to the next question. I was going to ask you, if you are reelected, you know, what your goals would be when you get back to Montpelier. So you've already...
One goal is clean water. The other is to continue to work on our pensions. You know, we do have liabilities that are very large because we didn't pay down our obligations from 1990 to 2007. Since then, we've been working. We're one third of the way through a 30-year plan. We need to continue the discipline on that and work together to find solutions. Employees have stepped up to the plate to put more money in. We've changed pushed out the age of retirement in the teacher plan. We've changed the way we do health care. All in, those changes will save the taxpayers from 2010 to 2038, when we will retire the unfunded liability, $1.3 billion. That's real dollars for taxpayers, and we preserve retirement security at the same time. We need to move forward and continue that work, and that good work, to make sure that we stay disciplined and retain retirement security at the same time for our public employees.
Well, great. It sounds like you've got a lot on your plate.
I love the job. It's the best job in the state. I shouldn't say that because, you know, I was going to say don't tell the others, but they're going to hear it. Bottom line for me is this is what I love doing. I have no plans to ever run for any other office. This is it for me. This is what I've been doing government finance for 40 years. I love it. And with the help of Vermont voters, I hope to continue this for a long time.
All right, great. That seems like a great place to end, and good luck to you the rest of tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. And thank you. We're going to continue with our coverage here from the Burlington Hilton. I think we just have a few more minutes, or several, minutes left to go before we wrap up tonight. So stay tuned, and we'll talk with you soon.
Come on up, folks in the back. Folks in the back, come on up. We're going to have a couple of speakers here I think you're going to want to hear. I'll come down. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I am going to be very brief. I am here to introduce a person who put herself out on the line, traveled every county of the state over and over again, spoke to people at the county fairs, spoke to people in living rooms, spoke to people at rallies, and didn't just speak to people, but also listen to people. Christine Hallquist did an amazing job in her bid for governor of the state of Vermont, and we got to give her a big round of applause while we welcome her to the stage here in Burlington. Christine Hallquist.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for all of your support. It's been an amazing campaign. I've shed a lot of tears of joy for the people that have approached us over the past several days. It's been quite amazing. And I'm very proud of the campaign that we have run. I called Phil Scott to congratulate him on his win. Phil, you know, Phil is going to be very committed to the future of Vermont. I'm proud of how we've worked with each other. We sparred well, and I think Vermont is a beacon of hope. We showed the rest of the country what good democracy looks like. And as I've said all along in this race, you know, I'm standing on the shoulders of thousands of Vermonters before me who fought for what is right and what is just, and we will continue to fight for what is right and what is just. I'm going to tell you one of the more beautiful stories that I saw on the campaign. You know, on the primary night, I was up in Island Pond, and this big burly man came running across the parking lot, and I thought, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. But he ran up and he says, "Oh my God, I thought you were going to leave without me saying hello." He says, "I am so proud of you, and I'm so happy with the work you're doing. I just wanted to shake your hand." So Vermonters all over, we are a welcoming and inclusive state, and I love Vermont. And this campaign was truly a labor of love. It was a real demonstration of the love we all have for each other. And let's make sure we continue this in front of the headwinds that we're facing today. Let's continue to show the rest of America what good democracy looks like. And I certainly want to thank my family for their tremendous support. I want to thank Pat, my spouse. Jillian came here with a bunch of friends from San Francisco, worked hard. My son, Derek, Kirsten, I'm very proud of my family. And I want to thank my awesome and incredibly intelligent and committed staff, Cameron, Aaron, David, Logan, Will, Teddy, Brenda, and so many others. Grace, all of you have worked so hard, and we're never going to be able to replace what's in my heart right now. So I want to thank every volunteer and every donor who's helped out. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And we all will continue to strive to make a better Vermont. And nothing is impossible when you're on the side of justice. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, folks, the hits just keep on coming. Lots of great news happening tonight. I will just point out that Bob Hooper has managed to defeat Kurt Wright tonight for state legislature. And we're well on the road to having over 100 seats between the Dems and the Progs in the legislature. So, looking good. Quick announcement, if anyone has found a lost LG phone, get it to one of us at the party and we'll get it to the rightful owner. Or a debit card. Oh, there's a debit card too. No, I get the debit card. I want to introduce an incredible woman tonight. Beth Pierce, our state treasurer, our recently re-elected state treasurer, is an amazing fighter for working Vermonters. She's out there defending pensions. She's out there defending a responsible state budget. She's out there fighting for clean water, day in and day out. She does the job of balancing the numbers, keeping our credit standing where it should be, despite Phil Scott's efforts to undermine it. We're incredibly proud of her leadership, both here in Vermont and nationally. As president of the National Association of State Treasurers, State Treasurer Beth Pierce.
Thank you very much. I always have to lower these. I'm shorter than most of the other folks that come up here. I want to say thank you very much for all the voters and all the help and all the volunteers here. Give yourself a hand for all the volunteers. Woo! Someplace hiding over there is my sister, Luann Katire, and my brother-in-law, Bob. I want to thank them. They drove me all around the state today. We tried to be with candidates, so we were in Barrie, Montpelier, Linden, Grand Isle, St. Albans Town, and St. Albans City supporting candidates. We have a great, great, great bench all across the state. Great Democrats. I want to say thank you to all the folks that ran. Thank you for the folks that looks like we're picking up some House seats today. Thank you all for all that good work. As your treasurer, I always talk about the bottom line, and that's, I'm the treasurer. I talk about bottom lines, okay? That's what I'm supposed to do. But that bottom line isn't for a select few. That bottom line is for every single Vermonter. It's for everybody in this room. It's for everybody in this state. It should be shared by everybody. Every single Vermonter is entitled to a lifetime of financial and economic well-being. That's what you want for your children. That's what you want for yourself. That's what you want for your neighbors. I want it for every single Vermonter. We need to continue. Thank you. We do that in a number of different ways. We work on our local investments. We work on programs to help the individuals with disabilities. We work on financial literacy. We work in so many different ways. But it's my partners, our partners across the state that make a difference. I want to say thank you very much to Mitzi and for Tim Ash for the General Assembly for what they do to stand up for working Vermonters and make it happen every single day. Thank you, folks. I want to say thank you to Jim Condos for making sure that we have elections that are fair and that everybody in this state has the right to vote. I want to say thank you to Doug Hoffer for making sure we spend that money wisely for taxpayers. I want to thank my good friend and partner, T.J. Donovan, for social justice, restorative justice, and changing the way we treat people in Vermont. We've got some great partners, and I'm very thrilled to be able to work with them. I was kind of hoping for another partner today. That didn't quite work out, but I want to say, Christine, thank you for the dialogue, because you've changed that dialogue. You've added to that dialogue. You've made a difference for every single Vermonter in what you did. Now, for me, it's just an incredible partnership. That's how we get things done in Vermont. We work together. When we did the clean water study, we had 23 stakeholder meetings, 1,000 people were involved. That's the Vermont way to get things done. We've got a great partner in the Lieutenant Governor, and I'm so thrilled that he's going to be back with us. That's fantastic, right, folks? Because he is an advocate. He is an advocate for social justice. He's an advocate for economic justice. He's an advocate for financial independence, for ending discrimination. That's what we need in Vermont. That's what our whole team's done. That's what Christina's been talking about. That's the democratic values that we have. It's my pleasure to introduce David Zuckerman.
Thank you, Treasurer Pierce. Man, she has become quite the rabble-rouser, hasn't she? Go, Beth! Thank you, Vermont Democratic Party. Thank you, Vermont voters. And thank you, Dawn Turner, for running a positive and respectful race. We are very lucky here in Vermont. We are very lucky here in Vermont. I shouldn't say lucky. It is with intention that in Vermont, civility and respect across different perspectives and different issues is held. While we watch negativity take over all across this country, we had races here in Vermont that were positive and respectful. And I thank my opponent for that. This race was about the issues, and Vermonters spoke very clearly that we want to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Vermonters said, we want to clean up the waterways of Vermont. We don't want to keep punting that down the road. Vermonters said, renewable energy matters because climate change is real, it's not a hoax, and we have to address it now. We cannot continue to use fossil fuels the way that we have been. Vermont sent a message that affordability is about putting more money in people's pockets. Raising the minimum wage by 50 or 60 cents an hour puts over $1,000 a year in their pockets. That's a whole lot better for Vermonters than any $20 or $30 tax break. It is very clear what Vermonters want. The people in this room know what Vermonters want. The people across the state know what Vermonters want. And we're ready to go down there and give them what they want. And I'm going to introduce the next speaker, who's already been a speaker, is going to be Speaker again, and is going to lead a new House of Representatives with tremendous victories across the state. I first knew Mitzi in college. We then farmed together in South Hero over 20 years ago. It is an incredible pleasure and honor for me to introduce our returning Speaker, Leader of the House, Mitzi Johnson.
Tonight is a really good night to be a Democrat. Excellent. Where are the House members? And the Leahy Fellows. Where are the Leahy Fellows? Yeah. Welcome. Tonight, voters across Vermont are sending a really clear message that we need a state that works for everyone. These are a handful of the people who have made all of this happen across the state. We, through some very generous support, we had a series of Leahy Fellows across the state working hard, field organizing, supporting candidates, and having conversations with Vermonter. Thank you so much. We have a fantastic Vermont House Democrats campaign director, Jim Dandino. And between Jim and the next person I'll mention, we fielded the largest slate of candidates than we've ever seen, and we are seeing the results tonight. And that hard work of developing those candidates, encouraging those candidates, raising funds to support those candidates, and getting so many of them across the finish line, so much of that gratitude goes to Jill Krawinski. Jill is a rock star majority leader, and with all of this work, we have very good news about growing that majority this year. We see all these wins, but we also know that there's a lot of work to do yet. Christine Hallquist has my and our deep and eternal gratitude. Christine ran a fantastic campaign. She put her heart and soul out on the campaign trail, and she really used her space to really bring a lot of awareness about working families, about rural economic development, and about the inequality of opportunities around the state. And for that, we are very grateful and look forward to continuing that work as we move forward in the next section. So thank you, Christine. 2 years ago, many of us were here in this room together when we saw the political climate in Vermont shift drastically. For the last 2 years, we've had a president who creates toxic divisions, who disrespects women, who disrespects people with disability, people of color, victims of sexual assault and harassment, our veterans, and the list goes on and on and on. He believes he's above the Constitution, which is the foundation of our nation. He systematically dismantles public confidence in our free press, and he eggs the deep divisions and systemic racism that tear our country apart. And tonight, Vermonters fought back. Together, with all of your help, we sent a message that hate has no business here, that Vermont is not for sale, and that we need a Vermont economy that works for all of us, not just a select few. You all know that Vermont is the best place to live, raise a family, work, grow a business. And we have to do everything we can to make sure that that Vermont dream is accessible to everyone. From a good, strong start in early childhood to a retirement of safety and security and dignity. And we've got a lot of work to do in the next session to make sure that happens. In the last session, you all know the record number of vetoes that happened that helped to keep people away from that Vermont dream. Tonight, Vermonters said, that's not what we want. You need to listen. We need to make sure to include everyone and raise all boats. So I want to just give my personal thanks to every candidate that ran, every candidate that changed the story in their community, every candidate who helps people understand why we need to to build a stronger, healthier future in Vermont. And this team up here is just a part of the team that you're going to see working together with you to make a Vermont that does work for everyone. And I look forward to seeing that through with all of you and serving Vermont together over the next 2 years. Thank you very much.
So we've got the room to 11. You can probably push it a few minutes after that. But as the old song goes, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, you know? It's been a great night. I want to thank everybody who ran, everybody who volunteered, everybody who was part of making this happen tonight. The fight for 2020 starts tomorrow morning. We've got to win back the governorship in 2020. We got to win the presidency back in 2020. And the Vermont Democratic Party is going to be working day in and day out to make that happen. I want to personally say